When visiting Kamakura and Enoshima, two of Japan's most beautiful and iconic areas, the most critical factor to keep in mind is congestion. Waiting over 30 minutes just to board the Enoden, only to find the train as packed as a rush hour commuter line. Taking a taxi, only to be trapped in a complete standstill along the coastal traffic. You want to avoid turning a precious holiday into a grueling experience that simply exhausts your travel companions. That is why, in this video, I will propose a specific route for those who want to enjoy Kamakura as comfortably as possible by avoiding the crowds. The keyword is the choice to buy your freedom by walking. I will explain a practical transit plan, where to converse your energy and where to invest it. By skipping the queues and avoiding the throngs of people, you can fully appreciate the charm of Kamakura. By the end of this video, you will have the strategy to navigate without being at the mercy of the crowds, ensuring a stay that makes your companions feel this trip was truly comfortable. First, the transit from Kamakura Station to the Hase area. The first hurdle you will face upon arriving at Kamakura Station is the congestion and waiting time for the Enoden line. During weekends or peak tourist seasons, long queues form at the Enoden platforms, and it is not uncommon to wait around 30 minutes just to board. Instead of simply waiting, consider the option of walking. The walk from Kamakura Station to Hase-dera Temple takes about 30 minutes. You can transform the time spent stranded on a crowded platform into a meaningful stroll through a quiet neighborhood. The recommended route is to head west from the station and take the residential path via Onari-dori. Moving away from the bustle of the main street, you will find quiet scenery along the tracks and secluded cafe without the queues. Furthermore, you can enjoy the sight of the Enoden passing by without the usual crowds, a reward reserved only for those who choose to walk. Additionally, if you have already visited Tsurugaoka Hachimangu, Kamakura's most famous shrine, taking a taxi from there to the Hase area is highly effective. Walking from the shrine to Hase takes an additional 15 minutes, but this specific section is relatively free of traffic and offers multiple routes, allowing for a smooth taxi ride. The important thing is not to wait passively for the transport right in front of you, but to choose based on the situation. By moving strategically, you can avoid having your energy drained by the crowds and enjoy the upcoming sights such as Hase-dera and Great Buddha in the best possible condition. After exploring Hase-dera and Great Buddha, the next destination is the Gakurakuji area. The distance between these points is just about 1 kilometer, roughly a 10-minute walk. Although it is an uphill climb starting from Hase, I recommend walking this section rather than taking the Enoden if you are able. The reason is that there are quiet temples and hidden views you would surely miss from the train. Along the way, you will find Chikara Mochiya, a traditional Japanese confectionery shop with over 300 years of history. Enjoying their famous Chikara Mochi while walking the quiet path toward Joju-in Temple is a luxury unique to this area. Joju-in, located along this path, is a place that deeply preserves the traditional atmosphere of the ancient capital. At Joju-in, time flows slowly, allowing you to forget the bustle of more touristy spots. Its well-kept grounds and tranquil presence provide a perfect vantage point to quietly enjoy the classic Kamakura landscape. The view of Sagami Bay looking down from the temple steps is a perfect vantage point to quietly enjoy the classic Kamakura landscape. However, if you choose to take a taxi, please limit its use to either Gakurakuji or the next stop in Muragasaki Station. The reason for this is the heavy congestion on Route 134, which runs along the coast. From this point toward Enoshima, the highway is a single road with no detours. The risk of traffic is extremely high at any time of day, and getting caught in it can instantly derail your remaining plans. Therefore, from here onward, I recommend switching to the Enoden, which is unaffected by road conditions and ensure you reach your destination reliably. Deciding how far to walk and when to rely on transit will significantly impact the overall satisfaction of your trip. Next, I will explain the risks you must avoid at our route's most challenging location, Enoshima. This is a point in our route design that requires the most careful judgment. First, it's essential to understand the topography of Enoshima. The island features a small mountain in the center, meaning that to sightsee, you must climb up and then back down. It is structured such that there are no flat detour paths. Within the island, there is a paid escalator service called the Enoshima Escalator that takes you to the summit, but this is for going up only. This means you will inevitably have to walk back down the stairs on your return. Furthermore, you should be aware that there are attractive sightseeing spots on the opposite side of the island. The awesome views from there are spectacular, and it often gets crowded with people enjoying photography, especially at sunset. Near the Iwaya Caves, the furthest point from the island entrance, there is a ferry called the Benten Maru that can take you back to the entrance. However, this boat is highly susceptible to wave and wind conditions, and it often suspends operation even when the weather seems fine. In fact, even on days with good weather when I went for filming, there were cases where they had already finished operations as early as 11 AM. Because the operating schedule is so unstable, I do not recommend counting out this boat as your way back. Basically, you should plan on the premise that you will have to climb the mountain again and walk back. If anyone in your party feels they are reaching their physical limit, making the decision to turn back near the Enoshima Sea candle at the summit, rather than pushing onto the far end, is an important judgment call. Finally, I will explain the recommended way to head home from Enoshima. The journey back after sightseeing in Enoshima. This is your final and most critical decision point. In the evening, Kamakura Station and the Enoden line become extremely crowded with tourists returning toward Tokyo. At the time when your fatigue is at its peak, you want to avoid waiting for a train in a massive crowd. That is why I recommend a route that returns via Ofuna Station instead of heading back to Kamakura. To do this, use the Shonan Monorail departing from Shonan Enoshima Station. The biggest advantage of this route is that Ofuna Station serves as a major JR transportation hub. With stops for the Ueno Tokyo line, Shonan Shinjuku line, and even the Narita Express, access to Tokyo, Shinagawa, and Shinjuku is incredibly smooth. In this previous video, I explain in detail the benefits of using Ofuna as your base and the specific ways to use the monorail to bypass the crowds. By choosing this route, you not only completely avoid the congestion at Kamakura Station, but by catching a train from its starting point or an augmented carriage at Ofuna, your chances of securing a seat for a comfortable ride home increase significantly. Let's recap today's route. From Kamakura Station to Hase. Avoid the Enoden queues and walk through the quiet streets of Onaridori. From Hase to Gokurakuji. Enjoy the scenery on foot, then switch to the Enoden at points where road traffic becomes a risk. Enoshima. Use the escalator for the climb, don't rely on the unpredictable Benten Maru boat, and have the courage to return back to within your limits. The journey home. Take the Shonan Monorail to Ofuna to smartly bypass the crowds. The key is not to simply follow a guidebook, but to choose between walking and transit based on the situation. This strategic decision-making will make the journey much more rewarding and comfortable for both you and your companions. I hope this information helped you with your trip to Kamakura and Enoshima. If you have requests like I'm struggling with a different situation or I want to know the route for another area, please let me know in the comments. I will continue to share practical information to help you enjoy your travel in Japan more smartly. Please subscribe to the channel and check out our future videos. Wishing you a wonderful trip to Japan. Thank you for watching until the end.